it is funny because I mean, how often does this happen to people in everyday life that he's like, he's got this good thing, he's got this wife in this case, he's got this idea, this ambition, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go do this thing. And he goes and he borrows the money and he in this case, his wife's magic assistants create the tapestry. But if we're looking at that metaphorically, like if he's an entrepreneur, he has the idea, he raises the capital, he starts the business, it gets out in the world, it does well, he earns a bunch of money, and then somebody comes along and tries to take the thing, tries to take the thing. I mean, you can talk about like a band that is doing that has this very musical or singer-songwriter, it's a very creative musician, and then he creates an album and it does really well, and then the record company's like, okay, like you got to make another one, and now he's living this lavish lifestyle and like that whole thing. So it's and he's lost that creative spark. So we see
Mm.
that sort of again here with the sharpshooter where he's following it along and he's doing everything he's supposed to, and that gets him in trouble. And that all of a sudden the king comes and wants to take his wife.
Mm.
And he's woeful. He goes and the king says, hey, why don't you well, we're skipping over the Baba Yaga. We can come back to her. But the king
Mm.
says, why don't you go find this deer for me? And he's
Mm.
like, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So he goes home, really sad, and he feels kind of lost. But he goes back to his wife, and his wife is able to kind of support him through all of those things.
Mm.
Whereas I think in the real world, maybe this is a pointer in the story. In the real world, if you're that musician and the record company's like sort of stealing your intuition or stealing your whatever it was that fed you creatively, or fame, even if just fame is stealing what fed you creatively, are you able to find are you able to go back to that creativity? I mean, you hear about artists that like they go to like a cabin off in the woods and
Mm.
they're there and they can just create and they're outside, they sort of remove themselves. And I feel like that's a fair metaphor, is like to turn back to the thing that took care of you rather than um, continuing to just try and get more money for your tapestries or something like that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that would be going back to the beginning of the story where the sharpshooter goes back. This is what I'm elite at, going back into the woods, nature, the dark place, and being open to whatever birds you can find there.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.